Perfect with no flaws at all are the laws of Allah. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah. Amma ba'd. Welcome, brothers and sisters, again to a new episode, yet a continuation on the issue of marriage. And what does a sister look for in a husband? We promised them to be dealing with the quality of tolerance, being tolerant, but what exactly does that mean? Perhaps, Sheikh, you can elaborate on that.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa mahtada bihudahu wa ba'du. Tolerance is a quality needed in all humans. And the more tolerant you are, the happier person you are. But in a husband, it is extremely needed more than anyone else. And because he is the captain of the ship, and he is the physician, he's a dentist, he's a doctor, he is the one in control. If he is unable to manage, if he's unable to, in a sort, incubate all of these problems and deal with them, then you have a problem. And that is why whenever someone proposes to a family, they should ask not his parents, because definitely the mother will say, oh, he's a sweetheart, though he's a serial killer. But he's a sweetheart in her eyes. You should ask those who work around him. You should ask the neighbors. And that is why I, personally, this is what I do. When people propose to my girls, I used to go to the masjid next to their house. Ask the imam, do you know the person? I said, yes, mashallah, he prays in the first row. I asked the muaddin. He said, yes, he comes 5 times a day, he reads the Quran, he memorizes the Quran. Okay, this guy's religious commitment is okay in the surface. I go to his work and I ask his friends. I look at his hobbies. If he's involved in da'wah, I ask those around him. And the first question I ask, or 2 questions usually, how is he? Is he stingy or generous? He says, no, he usually buys us sandwiches. I said, okay, this guy is okay on the spending part. Okay, how is he? Is he impulsive? Does he break into rage attacks? Or he said, well, no, mashallah, he never fought. We've never seen him fight with others or quarrel or raise his voice. He's always, easygoing. This is a perfect person for my daughter. I give him a green.
How about people approaching the marriage or seeking to get married, but they're approaching it as if they're hiring somebody? Is there something wrong with that approach?
Can you elaborate?
Hiring in sense that, oh, this boy's coming to marry your daughter, and you say, let me see your CV. Let me see your resume. Let me see what are your qualifications. Let me see your references. Here are the questions. How will you treat this and stuff? Is that a right approach? I'm asking.
I worked in HR for a long time. So I come from a human resources executive background. And I tell you, it is a profession, how you write your CV. So don't be deceived by what a person you're interviewing may say or claim, because you have lots of con men, and they are able to con you. They are able to convince you. So this doesn't give you the full picture. It gives you a portion of it, but you have to do your homework and investigate. And his qualifications, his CVs, the courses he took, this is good, but it doesn't add value to the marriage. It adds value to his credentials, to his work, to his career, but not to his marriage, I believe.
What about, like we're telling that the man should be tolerant? The way that the man that you described, oh, you go, he doesn't get angry, he's soft, he's all of these things. Could we say maybe that a man like that might be not man enough to sometimes put his foot down? Do we always want the man to always back down?
May I add something here? You remind me. A woman wants to see both.
That's what I'm saying. Like
She wants to see both. If you're always that passive, okay, nodding your head, yes, as you like, do it. I'll tell you a true story. One sister, she hit her husband with the vase.
Ya Latif.
She said, be a man. I want to hear one day to say no. What is this? Yes. It is a fact. This is the nature of woman. She wants to see that. And you know what? Inside her, now I can count in you. Inside her. Okay, let me finish. So this is very important. Very important. Being tolerant is something. And man, that's why when the Salaf, the forefathers, they used to say a husband at home behaves like a child. Okay? Because this is here. Why behaves like a child means what? Means he overlooks, means he is easy.
He plays
He
with his
plays.
wife.
Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu used to crawl on his falls, and the children jumping on him. And when one of his governors came, he saw that, said, "What is this, Amir al-Mu'mineen?" Sayyidina Umar picked it quickly. He said, "Oh, tell me about you. How's the atmosphere in your house when you enter?" He said, "Me? Oh, yes. The moment I step in, anyone who was talking will keep quiet. Anyone standing will sit down. Anyone was leaning will sit." He said, "Really?" He said, "Yes." He said, "You are not a governor anymore. If you have no mercy towards your own children, how can you have mercy towards the subjects?" Because he learned this from the Prophet ﷺ. And another story mentioned in the book I mentioned, Ishrat al-Nisa by Imam Nisa'i, one of the Sahaba came to complain to Sayyidina Umar about his wife, the Sahabi. The moment he reached Umar's house, he heard the voice of Umar's wife screaming at Umar, shouting at Umar. Umar, the shayateen ran away. And yet his wife is shouting at him. Oh, alhamdulillah. You know, sometimes it makes you feel good when you feel people, they have the same problem. We're in the same boat. So he said, "Alhamdulillah, I'm not alone." So he decided to go back. By then, Sayyidina Umar opened the door. "Brother, come. What's the problem?" No. Come. He said, "I came to complain about my wife. I found the same thing, that you have the same problem." He said, "See what Sayyidina Umar said." He said, "Listen, brother. She looks after me. Looks after my children. Cooks for me. Okay? Washes my clothes. Stitches my clothes." And he started listing her daily chores. If she flares up, okay, from time to time, I have to take it. This is life. Life is give and take. And this has happened also in the house of the Prophet ﷺ. Imagine the Prophet ﷺ when he got angry with his wives and he said, "You will not see my face for 1 month." And he stayed in the masjid, and you all know the story, and the rumors went around that he divorced his wives. And Aisha said, "I was counting the days on my finger. 29 days, the Prophet ﷺ came back." Aisha, what did Aisha do? At the door. He said, "The month is not over." He said 1 month, right? 30 days. The Prophet ﷺ said, "The month can be 29 days and can be 30 days. Okay? Subhanallah. Imagine that this happens to you, and you told your wife, "You will not see me for 1 month. And after 29 days, you came back and expecting her to hug you, and she's telling you the same thing." What would be your reaction?
The issue is, Jazakallah khair, that the tolerance that is needed is due to the fact that women have different moods. And if the man also was moody, then the marriage would not continue. So many times, and there are problems with the man and woman. And the woman is so agitated, "Divorce me, divorce me." And for a whole day and a half or 2 days, she's demanding divorce. And at the end of the day, the brother says, "Khalas, you're divorced." And then she breaks into tears. "You divorced me? Sister, you've been asking for divorce for the past 48 hours. But you had the guts to divorce me?" And she starts to cry and weep. And he has to have the tolerance in saying, "Yes, I will do this, I will do that." But be always in control. Because if he's impulsive, if whenever she says a bad remark, he gives her a ton of remark in return, marriage would not be on the right track.
I think another problem that brothers often, we touched upon this before, but I just bring it from another angle, is that brothers often treat their marriage like they treat their business. So, you know, it's like a management. So if you're a manager, you deal with management, you come home, you want to manage the house, you want to manage your wife. And this is the thing, is that women don't respond to things in the same way. You know, often, and this is a major problem that actually men and women both have this problem, that, you know, sometimes you think when your wife's offloading a lot of problems on you, she's saying, "Oh, this happened, and this happened, and this," and the man is sitting there thinking, okay, because it's the man, he puts his thinking cap up, and he's saying, "Okay, now how do we manage this? And, you know, I'm going to find some solutions for this problem." And she doesn't want any solutions. She just wants you to sit there and listen to her offloading her and just go, that's right. Yeah, okay, I see. And so you're saying, yeah, that's right. But the man thinks, no, I have to put my solution cap on and I have to manage this whole situation. And I remember my sister-in-law actually said to my brother-in-law, listen, he started offering solutions. She said, shut up, I just want to tell you my problems. I don't want any solutions. So again, I think that sort of tolerance and that sort of empathy, that just being able to sort of relate a little bit to your wife and what she's been going through in the day is very, very important as well.
Well, we're going to have to go for a break. And so it seems that men have a lot of qualities to gain in order to fit the description of the righteous and pious and the husband with a good character. So inshallah we'll elaborate further after the break. Stay tuned.
A way of life, a way of life.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. So tolerance, being tolerant, covered, alhamdulillah. Does the husband have to be strong? Does he have to be trustworthy? Or, this is irrelevant to the criteria.
Well, this is mentioned in the Quran, as we mentioned in the beginning, that Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran, verily the best of men to hire is the strong and the trustworthy. This is been said by one of the two women who were trying to water their flock, and Moses, peace be upon him, came and gave them a helping hand and left. So they went back to their father, who was old, and they told him, why don't you hire this strong man who is trustworthy, because he's not, sending his gaze and looking at us and checking us out. The guy was walking in front of us. He did not even address us directly. He lowered his gaze. So we believe that these are qualities needed in a man. Strength, and to be honest and trustworthy. Of course, we've gone through honesty and trustworthy, but what is meant by strength?
I have a nice explanation for this, and I bring this up in our congregation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that these are those qualities, al-qawi al-amin. And I look at people, brothers in their jobs, when they get a job. Firstly, they need quwwah, right? The strength to be able to get the job done. So when a person gets hired for a job, they have the qualifications. That's the first thing that you're looking for. Does he have the qualifications to get the job? But then on the opposite side, even though they have the qualifications, are they actually going to follow through and do it? And that's amana. Okay. Because a lot of people, when they get their job, they know what work needs to be done, but they just sit at work and procrastinate and check their email all day long, and they get a paycheck and they didn't do anything. There's no amana. And the person needs both. And so brothers need to understand that you need to have the strength, be able to do what you need to do, and at the same time the amana to fulfill your rights.
In the context of, it seems like we're hiring someone, but in the context of the wife, how does she benefit from him being strong and having amana? How does that
How to
fit
gain
in?
his strength?
I want to say, even though we're talking about business, and we're almost like approaching this as if we're walis, talking on behalf of the woman. If this guy doesn't have amana at work, and he doesn't fulfill his rights, he's going to lose his job, and pattern is going to continue at the home. So even though we're saying it might sound like a business context, we're taking emotions out of it, and we're saying we want you to be married to somebody who has the strength and has the amana, and he can continue this in his
Surely,
house.
but now let's, on the sister's end, her point of view. How does that fit in? How does she identify? This is, we're talking about what to look for. She found out that this person is strong. Are we talking about physical strength? Are we talking about spiritual strength? Are we talking about what? Mental strength? And then trustworthy. And in what sense? That he's not going to cheat on her, that he's going to keep up with his promises, he's not going to get a second wife. Because some sisters think that the idea of getting a second wife is betrayal. And therefore he is not trustworthy. And so we have a lot of misconceptions that are present amongst the people. Maybe we can deal with them one by one.
Well, the strength essentially is a general terminology. And the Prophet says, Al-mu'min al-qawi khayrun 'inda Allahi wa hab min al-mu'min al-da'if. The strong believer is more preferred to Allah Azza wa Jal than the weak believer. وَفِي كُلٍّ خَيْرٍ. And both have, inshallah, enough goodness in them. So the first thing that comes into mind is the strength of religion. So if I marry someone who is 6'4" and has lots of muscles, but his religious commitment is weak, then this is not what it is meant. He has to be, first of all, strong in his religious commitment. He has to be physically fit. So again, if a sister marries someone who is physically unfit, he's unable to work, he's unable to gain money, he's unable to fulfill her natural desires. He's an impotent. So he's not strong. He has to be also strong in being able to take the right decisions. So if she marries someone who's physically strong, who is rich, but he's unable to direct the family to the right path, and he always makes the wrong decisions, he doesn't consult, he doesn't do his very best to find the best thing for his family, then definitely he is not qualified to lead.
In your HR experience, how do you find people like that?
Like
The way you're saying, that they're able to fulfill what they... Because see, the thing is, brothers, maybe they're looking to get married and they're very young. And the way that we're talking, you're talking about a mature person who's gone through many hardships in life and has finally figured out this is what they need to do. But sometimes they, at that stage in their life, they don't have these qualities.
there are qualities there are decisions in their lives that give us an idea, a glimpse of what the future might hold for them.
Exactly, and now I'm saying, what are those?
See, I could tell from an HR perspective,
Sure.
I could tell if someone has changed 6 or 7 jobs in the past year, that this guy is not being able to make a path for himself. So this guy is impulsive. He keeps on changing, and there has to be a problem with him. Among the qualities is that when you interview him, youngsters have to make mistakes to learn. But if the pattern of making mistakes is prolonged, then there is a weakness, there is a deficiency that has to be addressed. So when a sister looks at a person who has been steady in his studies for the past 18, 20 years, mashallah, he did all of his schools and the university in high grades, his time is managed, then this guy is definitely stronger than someone who skips school, then works, then goes back to school, then skips school. It keeps on going like this.
What are some signs about consistency in their deen and strength in their deen?
There's so many.
Like, I know we're saying, oh, if he doesn't pray Fajr in the masjid, then don't get married. I know a lot of brothers won't get married if that's the case. And maybe that criteria, alhamdulillah, it's a great standard. But what are some more practical things for it?
We accept the minimum. If he prays the 5 prayers, he doesn't miss his prayers, because we have also to be practical. Many of the sisters are desperate. They want to get married. Okay? So that is the best to get. But if, mashallah, he is trying his best and he doesn't miss his prayers, and so, you know, he can improve. Okay?
He doesn't do haram.
He doesn't do haram.
Bluntly.
Okay? So we have to be, here, tolerant. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? But since you mentioned the ayah, okay, this is very beautiful ayah, okay, and the story and how the girl find out. How did she find out that he was strong? Okay, because here in this context, it is the physical strength that she is referring to, because the commentator, they said, first of all, what they call, I think they call this gallantry in Shahama?
Gallantry, yeah.
Yeah, gallantry in English, yeah. That he found those 2 sisters, tending their flock of sheep, away from the men, okay, sisters, away from the men, they're not mixing with the men. So he approached them, because the reason he approached them, that there must be a reason why they are out. Because normally it is the man who does these things, not the woman. So he said, "Ma khatbukuma?" What's wrong with you? Why are... So they explained to him that we don't have, men. Our father is old. And we cannot water our flock of sheep till the men leave. So he looked and he saw another well covered. They said he took the lid, the cover, with one hand. Musa alayhi salam. That's why فَوَكَزَهُ MashaAllah. So he just hit him and the man fell dead. And he hoisted the bucket and gave water, etc. And he went and sat in the shade, and they went early. The father said, "What's this? You are so early today." And they told him the story. He said, "Go and call him." فَأَتَتْهُ إِحْدَاهُمَا. Listen, sisters. تَمْشِي عَلَى Istihya, Allahu Akbar. So one of them came walking in a state of haya, modesty, bashfulness, shyness. Not even looking at him, that my father is inviting you. So now here, how she found about his amana, his trustworthiness. Musa said, don't walk in front of me, walk behind me, and don't talk to me. You want me to go to the right? Throw a pebble. They'll go to the right. To the left, throw a pebble till they reach. Immediately the girl said, Ya abati istajir. Oh, my father, hire him. This is the best. He's strong, he can look after us, he can protect us, and he is trustworthy. And the father was smart, rahimahullah. He realized that the girl is hinting what?
For marriage.
Getting me married. So immediately he realized that he wants to get married. So he got him married to fun. So the story is so beautiful.
You know, this reminds me actually on the topic of amana. And I know, like, we're fathers here. One thing that I have in my mind, that if a man ever comes to propose to my daughter, and then I find out that he was talking to my daughter without my permission, I would automatically say he doesn't have amana.
Exactly.
And I would reject him just on that. And I think that a lot of sisters need to be told about this, that if a brother's coming and talking, and I know the situation is hard in different situations, but inshallah ta'ala, if you have a good wali, that you want a brother that you're going to get married to, a boy, a man that has amana, and he's not going to bypass the wali like.
Other qualities which the sister should look for.
He has to be cooperative with the wife, especially in terms of teaching and learning.
I guess this should trigger the discussion in the next episode about the in-laws and the relationship between husband-wife and the parents of both, and what should one look for in that sense. So Jazakumullah khair for tuning in, and we will catch you in the next episode. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A way of life.